Hi all. Right, welcome back to Fields of Fire, the Normandy campaign. This is mission 1, Trevieres offensive. This is part 3. So part 1 was just really introduction. Got started in part 2, not done an awful lot. Moved 4. I've moved a 2-step squad into here and 3 assault teams into there. The 2-step squad found cover, the others did well. I only drew in general initiative with 2. We tried with that guy since it was the possibility of getting a better cover, but we never found the cover. So that's us used all been through the general initiative. I've just got the sequence of play line there just now, so that was general initiative impulse. And then, I've been through the fact that we're not going to do this because that starts on turn 2. It's IRHQ event. Enemy activity check segment. Enemies found at cards without valid target. Shift ceasefire. Right, there's no enemies on yet anyway. Mutual capture and retreat phase. Well, we'll get to that when it comes to. There's none of that happening just now. AT combat and vehicle movement phase. And then mutual combat phase, well, again, there's nothing firing at anything yet, but it's within this step that we eventually do something. So we can't, there's no incoming airstrike, flip pending markers to active sites, there's none of that. However, there is 3.7.2, which is potential contact evaluation segment. For each card with a PC marker and a friendly unit, draw the number of action cards indicated on the potential contact draws chart based on the PC marker and the current activity level. If a card states contact with the enemy has been made, determine the enemy package to use in placement per 8.3. Place any applicable VOF and PDF markers and update the current activity marker before moving on to the next PC marker. Okay. Right, so this is the chart. Again, all the charts that I've got apart from the one that was able to print out, these are from my original. So whether there's any adjustments to these or not, I don't know. I don't think so. I would think that this is still the same, and these would be major changes, I think, if they had adjusted any of these numbers, maybe, or the likes. It also has it on one of the little cards to keep it simpler there. So these are the types of PC marker you can see, and what our contact level is. For no contact on a C, we would draw 4 cards. For contact on a C, we would draw 3 cards. Engage 2, heavily engage 1. And then if it was a B right now, or an A at no contact, we wouldn't draw any cards. We would just find an enemy. And then it gives you a wee description there of the activity levels, about how you decide how to differentiate between them. Now, I think this might have been worded slightly better. I'll just show you on there as well. I would think that the new player aid to this might be, because it's sometimes. Yeah, well, actually, is it not got it? Is it not got it in this? It will have, won't it? That's finding these things though. Oh, there we go. Hang on. There it is. So it says, I'm just reading this from the rulebook. 1, no contact. It says, no VOF or PDF markers are on the map, and in brackets, including unactivated mines. So there's something that's been added just to, like, mines were something that was one of the things you started asking questions about, right? Does that count towards contact or what? So it does say including unactivated mines, and no enemy units have been spotted. So that's the only thing that's been added to that about the mines. And then it's got in brackets after that, the activity level does not reduce to no contact until both of these conditions are true. Okay, and then for contact, it's got 1 friendly occupied or enemy occupied card is under a VOF marker, or there is at least 1 spotted enemy unit on the map. That's pretty much the same, I think, isn't it? Engaged is 2 or more occupied cards can include, and then it's got in brackets, can include friendly occupied cards and enemy occupied cards. So it's explaining it a bit better detail than what that is, just a bit briefer. And then heavily engaged, 2 or more occupied cards are under VOF markers, and at least one card has both enemy and friendly units on it. So yeah, kind of the same. Well, it's saying engaged plus that, you know. So yeah. So we're looking. Well, we've got 4 potential contacts, and that we've got friendly units on. So we've got to work out all these. So we are on a C. So I'm just going to take this out and use the little card. So yeah. So type of marker is a C. We're at no contact. So it's 4 cards to draw. Now, we've got to decide between the 4 though, and we have to just do that randomly. We don't get to pick which one, in which order we do it. I was trying to find it in the rules there, just to keep myself right. Yeah, if more than one PC marker needs to be resolved, do it in alphabetical order. So fair enough, it's not randomly. If, for instance, we had an A here, and a B, and a C, and a C, we would obviously do the A first. However, and then resolve multiple markers of the same letter in random order. And whenever you randomise in this game, you draw a card, and that's how you do it. You don't roll a dice, you just use the cards to do it, right? So we're going to look at rolling a D4 here, basically, because we've got 4 potential contacts. So we're just going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? And we're going to draw a card. We'll draw a card and look at the bottom, and the number, oops, hang on. Right, okay, so the numbers above that are white in the darker background, they're the actual, sorry, there's a bit of glare there. They're the dice, if you like. So we're looking at a D4, and then the number below that gives us our answer. So D4, and the result is 3. So we're looking at number 3 to do first. So 1, 2, 3. So this is the contact we're going to resolve first. Okay, so, and then, I won't zoom back into that. So again, looking at this, we're on a C, that's no contact at the moment. We're going to draw 4 cards. And if the word contact is in any of the 4 cards, then we've got ourselves an enemy. Right, so I'm going to draw 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll see what we get. Cover, no? Right, contact, okay. Yeah, I should look at them. I forgot that. I think the last time when I was looking at the cover, I thought, Grant, you should look at these, not just pile them up, because that could have been the reshuffle card that was in that. Let me just double check. Right, we've got a contact. Hang on, I need to draw another card though, because I've only drawn 3 cards. That was lucky of me before, not... Because I think I just found covered, and I didn't look at the rest of the cards. I need to look at them all, because that card, there's only one of them in the deck, but it could have been in the pile, and then I've put it in the discard pile, and it should be reshuffling. So let me just double check how... I want to say we draw one more card, because we've only drawn 3, really, and that. So I think we draw another card. However, you're just going to reshuffle anyway, Grant, aren't you? Right, give me a sec, though. Right, so this is on pages 9, page 10 really, with the bit that we're wanting, but it starts on page 9, 2.2.3, shuffle your action deck. But page 10 says, most activities require a number of cards to be drawn from the action deck. To ensure the deck is randomised sufficiently and gives a proper distribution of results, always draw the full number of cards, even if the desired result appears earlier. If you encounter the reshuffle card, finish drawing the cards and then reshuffle all the cards, including the reshuffle card. Note that the reshuffle card does not count as one of the required card draws. The various elements which make up each action card are explained in 2.8. Yeah, okay. So, I mean, it's not a big deal here because we're just about to reshuffle them, but we were meant to draw 4 cards. This technically doesn't count. We set that aside. We draw 1 more card. Okay, but we've got our contact that we were that we weren't looking for, but however. So we shuffle the deck with the discards and the reshuffle card, and get ready for a fresh deck. Okay, so we've found a contact on that card on the cemetery. That's a pity. That's one of the guys we didn't find the cover for as well, isn't it? Right, so we look at, this is the mission booklet again, mission 1, enemy information here. So potential contact A, B, or C. So we're looking at this. So we're going to randomly draw a card on a D10 this time to find out what the result is going to be. So I'll draw a card, and on the D10 you can see it's a 4. So we get number 4, which is package 3, incoming mortars it is. So number 4, package 3, incoming mortars. Right, discard that card. So now we need to check the German package tables, don't we? Where are they about? Let's see, this is on a card. Well, I can maybe lay this out. Hang on. Yeah, German force packages. Hang on. Right, there we are. So it was number 3, wasn't it? Yeah, so number 3 up there. So incoming mortars, that's a package name. Again, this is the old player aid. So I maybe want to say there was some, I got all confused with this a little bit. But I know, and again, I remember it's another sort of question I had to go looking for. But however, there also might be a couple of misprints in this. I know I think I wrote something in. Well, it was maybe not on this one then. I don't see anything there. I think there was something. However, this looks okay. So incoming mortars, right. Place a volume of fire PDF. Yes, we're going to do that. Is the unit spotted? No. Placement. Now this is only the placement if you get the result to place according to the German force package placement, then you would look at this. But we're going to come back to, well, we might not be coming back to that. But if we do look at this, it just says at max line of sight. And then there's a description of what we're getting. We're getting, number 3, we're getting an incoming marker with a net combat modifier of equal -3, plus a mortar forward observer spotter 81mm. Okay, so that's what we're getting. So let me find what we need for that to start with. Yeah, I knew I'd written some bits in just to. This is actually on the actual mission book, so I mean I was using that player aid, but it's the same as what's there. So I suppose I could have just used this. So that's just what I've read out. It's just the same. You can see there is a that plus shouldn't be there. It's just part of it anyway. That one. Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't remember why I've done that. It's obviously relevant. Okay, so we need to know where it's going to go. So we come back to here to check for unit placement. We draw another D10 randomised to find out where it's going to go. So here we go. Right, D10, we've got a 10 this time. Now a 10 is right front at maximum line of sight. And you can see number 1 and 2 there are per package table placement. So if it was one of them, we'd then go back and use this column here to see where it was placed. And what does it say? It just says at max line of sight. So we're right front at max line of sight. That's where the spotter's going to go. And we're going to get an incoming, what is it, -3 on our card. Right, okay, I was just trying to find, I'm sure this is probably quite obvious and it shouldn't be a problem, but we're going, this is our card, we're going maximum, what was it? It was right front at maximum line of sight. So it's this card here. This is where the forward observer is going to go on, right? Now, he's not spotted. So we're going to take this. This will come off. And what I was doing, and I think maybe some others will do, is I'm going to put that on top of that with a question mark. So basically just saying that he's not spotted. Now, we're going to have a PDF coming from him, from his card onto here. And we're going to have an incoming marker. Now, I remember I got in the habit of putting, I think it explains it better in the rules maybe this time about where you put these counters on the card, because you can have fire within the card, fire coming from outside the card, from an enemy and fire coming from outside the card from one of your friendlies. I want to say I'd got in the habit of putting the enemies up to the top right side of things and ours down to the bottom right, and anything that was directly in the card between, that was fire, if it was 2 units firing in, then I would put that in the middle somewhere. I think it says where to put it in the rule book now, the new rules, but as long as you understand what's what and whatever. I was wondering about the line of sight. I was just wondering if this had been, if we had had another card up here, would we have put him, because it was right max line of sight. Well, because this is a green border, if there was a card up there, we wouldn't have line of sight through that card anyway. But we've not got a card there though as well. But also, it's that he's a spotter, isn't he? So he does need to have line of sight, right enough. But I'm wondering what his range could be. For instance, let's just say it'd been left at max line of sight. Then it could maybe have went there, because we can come into this card, and then this is a white border, so we can go right through into this card. So he could see from here to here. I'm just wondering what the range is, basically, because that would have to be long range, whereas that would be close range. And I couldn't quite find any, but I'm pretty sure it's there, and I'll come across it, and it'll click anyway. However, we've not got another card, and like I say, he couldn't fire through that card anyway, so that's what's happening there. Now the incoming marker, it has a -1 there. That's for something else, isn't it? Yeah, I'm not quite sure what that's for. However, the mortar spotter, he shows the actual volume of fire that's coming in. It's a -3. It's going to be. So we're going to have a -3 attack to there. Now there's nothing up there. If that had been in the woods, down there. If that had been in the woods, you would have got that. Because it's a blast, you would have got an extra -1 there, because you're in the woods. However, we've not got that. So it's going to be a -3 to when it comes to his attack. And then this guy's not spotted. So we need to attempt to try and spot him, so that we can try and take him out, because he's just going to keep sending in. And this isn't a mortar unit, it's a spotter. It's like off-map mortar fire, like we've got the artillery one, but they can get artillery off-map as well. And it shows you in the mission book there, spotter information, mortar spotter. It's a -3. He would draw 4 cards. Now he's got 2 fire missions, but this first one is automatic. If he goes to fire again, he draws the cards. That's right, isn't it? I don't think I need to draw cards from. I think the first time... Yeah, hang on. I had it up here as well. Enemy indirect fire spotters is on page 67, 8.10. Like the sniper, enemy spotters are not governed by the enemy activity hierarchy, but by their own rules as described below. I don't really need to read that. Right, when an incoming package is triggered, place an activated incoming VOF marker on the same card as the unit which triggered the incoming package, which is here. Place the enemy spotter as described in the package description, which we got right max line of sight. The initial fire happens automatically without need for a draw. Okay, so the first one does actually doesn't need to draw cards. However, it goes on, provided the spotter remains in good order and has fire missions remaining, it continues to attempt to call for fire on cards with opposing units in the enemy activity check of subsequent turns with the following priority. Right, and I'll come back to that because it might change its mind when it fires. Now you can see they had 2 fire missions. So what I think I need to add this to our log, don't I? Give me a second. Right, okay, so I've updated our enemy info there. I've got 1 mortar spotter, experience is line. Right, all the German stuff is all line. in this mission anyway. And I've scored it all day, and it has a maximum of 8 ammo. So he's got 2 fire missions basically. I won't mark the second one off, although he's using that right away. I won't mark it off yet until we get to the fire bit, and then I'll score that off, and then he'll only have one more fire mission after that. Okay, so I think that's everything regarding him. Right, and then one more thing we now need to do is change our activity level. So now we have one friendly occupied card is under a VOF marker, right? That's a volume of fire marker. So we are now at contact. So we change that marker up there to contact. Maybe I shouldn't have put it way up there out of the way, but is there an easier? Yeah, you know what? I'll put it further down. Put it down at the bottom. It's not. I mean, as long as I'm tracking it properly, that's fine. So we are at contact now. I'll just take them off, I think. So we're at contact. So now we've got to move on and resolve the other. We've got 3 more potential contacts to do. So again, we're going to randomly draw to find out which one. Well, we're going to find out which one we're going to look at first. I think I've done everything with that more situation. Yeah, we've got a PDF, we've got a volume of fire on the card. Yeah, all good. Right, so I'm going to 1, 2, 3, and this is a D3 this time to see what one we get. So on a D3, it's number 1. So it's going to be this guy here. This is the one that's in the cover. So now it's a potential contact C again. We'll look back at this. However, now we're at contact, so it's only a 3-card draw this time. So 3-card draw to see if we get contact. 1, 2, 3. So we get contact. Okay. Not a great start, right? And there's the 3 cards. Right, they get discarded. So we've found another contact. So now we need to again look at our potential contact C and randomly draw a D10 here, and we get a 1. Oh, don't tell me that's mines. Okay, so 1 is number 1, mines. Not great. Can I just turn the page? No, it's the page previously, Grant, which shows us the situation here. So 1, mines. Place a VOF PDF, yes. Units spotted, yes. Well, there's no... I don't know why that's there. There's not an actual unit, it's just we've found mines on the card. Placement, it says on same card, description as mines. If we go back to that, unit placement, I don't think we'll look at that then, will we? Because the mines are going on the card. Yeah, it must tell you somewhere about that, I think. Nothing on there that tells you those, though. No. I know that's a bit glary, but there's 8.7 enemy mines and booby trap packages. Place any mines VOF marker discovered via potential contact on the same card as the unit resolving the potential contact. Every unit currently on the card, friendly or enemy, must immediately do a mine check. 7.9. Yeah, okay, so we do have mines on the card. Now, do we have to do that immediately then? You'll see there's a slight upgrade to the counter there. You see there's a -2 in the corner. It's not on that. Not quite sure. That could be, you know what, I think that's for AT. It's for like tanks and things, I think. It's not got on this, the counters that I've got. These are some of the things that I've just yeah. So yeah, I might need to look more into this mines bit. Right, so I'm wanting to say that's coming off. The contacts have been dealt with. There's not any now. I'm wanting to say that this goes on like that to start with. Yeah, I need to watch and not cover up that wee -1. Page 79. I'm looking for. What was that? 67. Yeah. because it did say that we resolve this right away, and I think this is to see if we've triggered the mines. Basically, we're obviously we need to check and see if there's mines on the card. 79. Hang on, I'm not finding. I must be looking at. It's 59 or something. Give me a second. Right, page 54 even it was. 7.9 mines and claymores. So anti-personnel mines produce a VOF that mainly affects infantry units, but does have a limited effect on vehicles too. And I think that's where the wee -2 is that we've not got on the thing. So have any infantry unit or vehicle, friendly or enemy, that enters or moves within a mine card, check for a mine attack by drawing 3 cards. Now, I think that's what we've got to do. Did it not say we check right away? Did I not read that? So I think we're going to, and then mine's on same card. Yeah, what was that the other bit? It said we've to do a check right away. That was a different bit. It's under enemy, isn't it? I'll find it in a second. Hang on. Yeah, so just jumping forward to, this is page 66, 8.7, enemy mines and booby trap packages. It says, place any mines VOF marker discovered via potential contact on the same card as the unit resolving the potential contact. Every unit currently on the card, friendly and enemy, must immediately do a mine check, and then it references rule 7.9, which I think is where I was at. So I still think it should come in that way face up. I mean, it did say put a VOF marker. So anyway, back to 7.9 tells us about mines, right? So yeah, have any infantry unit or vehicle, friendly or enemy, that enters or moves within a mine card, check for a mine attack by drawing 3 cards for each unit, as indicated on the counter. Yeah, it's got 3 cards, right? If any card contains a burst icon, including multi-burst and short icons, then the unit has been hit. Flip the mine marker to the explosion side and place it on the affected unit or units as a reminder to implement the hit during the combat effects segment. Mine checks must continue to be made whenever a unit enters or moves within the card, even after being triggered. Place all newly hit units under the mine marker. You do not need to check for a mine attack when a unit leaves a mined card, unless otherwise mentioned in the mission instructions. You cannot remove a minefield. For infantry units, the VOF for a mine is -4, and for vehicles, the VOF has an AT modifier of -2, and that's what I was telling you about. Doesn't show it on these chits, but in the new chits that you're going to get in the deluxe version, I'll have that wee -2 on it as well. So we need to do this immediately. So we need to draw 3 cards. Basically, so 1, 2, 3. Right, so we're looking for we're not looking for the burst icon. So, right, it's not on that one. It's not on that one. Oh, we get away with it. Okay, it's just a wee flame burst. It's like that wee image in the -1 there. So we get away with that one. Well, that's fortunate. So I think that's right. So this doesn't flip then. Now, if anybody moves onto that card or moves within that card, then they'll have to carry out that check and draw 3 cards. So that was kind of lucky. Okay, moving on. We've still got 2 contacts to look at. So we've now got a random D2, if you like, to draw. So this is a 1, this is a 2. We draw a card and we get a 2. Okay, so we're doing this one next. So now, right, hang on. Yeah, this, because are we now engaged? Because it's 2 plus friendly occupied cards are under VOF markers. And I think this was where the confusion was. Well, did I not read? We read that recently, didn't we, regarding mines? I just can't remember where it is. I think we may be considered to be engaged then. I'm not 100% sure. Well, let me read that. It's on page 69, is it? No, 61. And this is enemy contact 8.1. And just talking about activity levels, it describes no contact as, and this is why I want to read it from the rules rather than this, because there was a bit of confusion about the mines. And it says no VOF or PDF markers are on the map, including unactivated mines. So right now, let's just say this wasn't here, and our first package was this mines, and it was unactivated because we've not drawn. We drew, we got lucky and didn't draw a burst icon, so it's not flipped over. That still counts towards being. I think that means we would be in contact, wouldn't it? Is that how it's saying it? No VOF or PDF markers are on the map, including unactivated mines. Yeah, I think that's saying if we had unactivated mines, they would count towards that, or does it mean the other way about? I'm not sure. Because if I know if it was on this side and it had triggered, then obviously that's a VOF on the card. But while it's like that, it's not. I might just go and have a wee search for that just to see. However, it only talks about within no contact. Within engaged, which I thought we might be, it's 2 or more occupied cards, and in brackets it's got can include friendly occupied cards and enemy occupied cards, are under VOF markers. Well, this is under a VOF marker. This is not, but could it be referring to the mines being on the unactivated side again? Let's go and see if we can find something about that. I think I don't want to mess this one up. Okay, I got enough to clear this up for me. It was back in June of 2021, so a couple of years back. However, the question was asked. The thread is mines, and it's Shania. So I'll probably get this name messed up. Shania. Sorry. He does a lot of. Sorry, I'm saying he there as well. To be honest, I'm not sure. The name's not a sort of familiar name to me from where I am anyway. Replies quite a lot. I think he's sorry, I'm saying he, so I might be wrong. I'll say he, and if I've got it wrong, you know that I've got it wrong, okay? Just so I can carry on speaking. I think he's been involved in the actual rules. He certainly replies to everything, and he's done a lot of work. I think he's one of the guys that are involved in this. I'm pretty sure if I looked in the credits, his name will be in there as maybe even the main man that was doing all this. Anyway, as reply to the guy was asking when the mines count as a VOF, do they count on that side or just when they're flipped to the other side? And he replied that Ben Hull, who is the actual original designer of the game, had clarified that mines do count as a VOF when you're considering an activity level, no matter what side they're on. If they're on that side, they count. I think that's why that no contact bit is referring to that like that. Just kind of wish it was under the other bits as well, but anyway. So that does mean we've got 2 VOFs on our cards. So that does mean that we are now looking at that. I'm just going to read it off the thing just to make sure. 2 or more occupied cards, and it can include friendly occupied cards and enemy occupied cards, so it could be a mixture of the 2 or whatever, are under VOF markers. That's the definition of engaged. So we do have 2. Like I say, this one is counted. Whether that's been changed again or not, I can only go by the confirmation. I wouldn't have thought so if the designer confirmed it a while back. Well, 2 years back, that thread is anyway. So we are now going into engaged activity level. So that's on the other side of that one. Right. I'm just marking that. I've got it off to the side here. So as long as I know where we're at. So we're at engaged. So that changes things a little. So we're now only going to be drawing a couple of cards, I want to say. So we're at engaged. We've got to check. Did we randomise this yet? We did, didn't we? We draw a 2. We're looking at this one. Yes. Okay. So our activity level's engaged. We're still looking at a C, so it's a 2-card draw. So hopefully we can avoid this one. Right, so we're going, and that's for this card here. So we draw 2 cards and looking for contact, or not looking for contact, shall we say? Rally. No. Okay, so we get lucky with that one. So that basically just comes off, and this card's now been cleared. So that's good. And then we've got 1 left. Obviously, we don't need to randomise this one. Now, our activity level is not changed. We're still engaged, so we're drawing 2 cards again. Looking for contact. Let's cover. And okay, that turned out to be pretty good in the end, to be honest, because we didn't trigger the mines. That can come off. And we've cleared 2 cards. The only downside could be it would have been better to have had our incoming coming as somebody that was under cover, or better cover, because he's only getting a +1 for that. So this assault team's in a bit of bother, I think. But everything else, pretty good. Okay, so now where do we go? And how much time are we at? 35 minutes. That feels longer. I hope things haven't been messing about with the recording side of things again. Okay, so where are we at now in the sequence of play? So we've just done potential contact evaluation. Place any applicable VOFs, and our activity level is still engaged, so we carry on with that. Pinned recovery segment. Remove pin markers from any vehicle or infantry units that are not under VOF. None of that. So now into the combat effects segment. Do not adjust VOF PDF until 3.8. So we don't do it. We go right through, do all this, and not until we're moving into that we then adjust our VOFs, because combat happens all at the same time. For each infantry unit on a card with a VOF marker, resolve any flamethrower attacks, determine the net combat modifier, draw an action card to determine if the fire is effective. If the unit is hit, draw another action card to determine the hit's effects based on the unit's experience. Update ammo levels of units exerting basic VOF as per 7.18.4. And then we want to update our fire missions as well, because that is the artillery. Sorry, it's not an artillery. It's mortar is going to spend one of its fire missions. So we'll get that out of the way, and we'll go on to this. Well, we're only going to have one to do here, aren't we? In the end, because the mines did not trigger. And now, yeah, I want to say this card will be cleared as well. I don't think the mines sitting on that card, yeah, because you can't remove them, so there's nothing we can do about them. So we basically just want to get out of there and let them go on with it. But that will then mean, however, this card's still got some incoming. He's getting fired at. They've got another fire mission, so more likely going to fire at this. Right, well, let's deal with this. So we've got this incoming here. Now, it's a -3, because that's what the fire mission said. It's on the spotter. I'm not showing you that. Anyway, I've already said it's a -3. It tells you in the fire mission booklet that they've got 2 mortar fire missions, and it's a -3 net combat modifier. So, we're going to work out the net combat modifier. I'll just keep that beside me as well, just to, again, determine the net combat modifier. So what have we got? Well, going for us, sorry, we've got a +1 for the cemetery. And going against us, we've got -2 because we're exposed, and we've got -3 for the incoming from the mortar, which is what that is. So we're actually got, that's -5 +1, so it's a -4 here. So don't fancy his chances. In fact, is that not, yeah, that's the worst that you can get. It goes from -4 to +6. So we're at the lowest level. So now we draw an action card to determine the fire. So here we go. Right, so, and we're looking down this side, and you can see we've got a -4, so it is indeed a hit. We would have had to get awful lucky, and there are probably some cards that maybe don't do it. I think when you see the higher numbers, I want to say the better it is for us. Yeah, so maybe the one that's got a 6 up there would maybe have got away with it. maybe just got a pin result. So we've got a hit result. So our unit is hit, and then we draw another action card to determine the hit's effect based on the unit's experience. Right, well the unit is an assault team, so it's line experience. So we're going to draw another card and see what happens to them. So the hit effect down here, damn it. So we got a bad one. So line, we've got a C and an L. C stands for casualty, L would be litter team, F is fire team, P is paralysed. However, C is a casualty, so we get a casualty right away. That's a bit rough. So casualty marker. Right, so he just goes under there. That comes off. I don't think we need an exposed marker on it, do we, Grant? Well, I'll leave it on it and keep it, because they all come off at a certain time. And that is them spent one of their fire missions successfully, as it happens, and took out that assault team. So they've got one fire mission left. However, now they might, what they'll probably do is, the fact there's nothing on this card, the casualty, they'll look elsewhere, probably fire onto here, on this unit. And it depends what else we do, though, of course. We might be able to spot him and be able to fire at him, then he might end up doing something else. They've got some special rules as well, but we'll get to that. So update ammo levels, well, yeah, there's none of that. And we couldn't have been firing back at him because he's not spotted. Well, plus the fact this was an assault team that was on there and only has a point blank range. So that's everything, that's all the fire. So clean up phase, remove pyrotechnic, smoke, illumination, exposed. So we can remove our exposed markers now. Let's see, there's probably no point in putting that one on. Because he is now a casualty, and well, we can get points by rescuing him. I think he can't do anything more. It doesn't necessarily mean that the whole unit was killed. It's just that they can't do anything. It's incapable of doing anything. Expose, move fire, concentrated fire, booby trap, grenade mass. Evacuate casualties from casualty collection points. Yeah, I think you'd have to have a casualty collection point, wouldn't you? So if we put on that card in this step, we would remove that, and at least I think it would give us some experience at the end, maybe. Enemies firing at cards without valid targets, shift/cease fire. And then if a defensive mission, remove any unresolved PC markers. Adjust VOF, PDF, and activity levels as a result of the combat. So I'm wondering if this happens here then. Does he change enemies firing at cards without valid targets, shift ceasefire? Because that is that is an invalid target now, because it's just got a casualty on it. So I'll maybe want to say that he ceases fire then, because that does have an effect, because that VOF comes off and then we're back down to contact rather than engaged. Let me just make sure that's right though. Yes, I think this marker, is going to come off. We're page 66 here, 8.6.4. Enemy cease/shift fire. Enemy units firing onto cards where there are no longer any valid targets, which are any non-casualty units, will eventually receive orders to cease/shift fire. As noted in the sequence of play, all such enemy units carry out a ceasefire action at the beginning of the enemy activity check segment and in the cleanup phase after removing smoke and other pyrotechnics. And then it says, remember to check for new targets in the enemy unit's line of sight as per the basic combat principle. So, yeah, I do think that happens now, because it does say in the cleanup phase, enemies firing at cards without valid targets, shift/ceasefire. I wish it didn't say shift there, because then we would maybe be considering here, because I need to know if that VOF marker's still on. I want to say that this is going to come away, and he's ceased fire at the moment. And then come the time when we look at this guy and then in the activity segment, then he'll probably look towards here and fire on that. But then remember, we are going to get to do stuff before that happens. So, you know, I think that's why he stops firing. So with that, we now go down to one VOF, which knocks us back from engaged to contact. I think that's right. I'm not 100% sure about that one, to be honest. And it is quite important regarding activity level, but yeah, I think so. I think enemy. I mean, it's not a valid target, this, so he's not going to keep firing at it. It's just the fact that it's the mortar, I suppose, it's making me wonder. We'll go with that. We'll go with that. Please let me know if I've got that wrong, though. And yeah, as I say, I'm hoping to get most things right. I'm not guaranteeing it all, though. So, but this is more probably just a sort of practice sort of session on the game, just to get me back into it and try and follow the new rules and see how smooth it is. It's awkward. I've said already, having a PDF version of the rules. I'd love to just have a paper version. But you can also, the good thing is you can search for things. Although I find that what I'm doing is I'm going over the computer to do the search, but I'm leaving the tablet just sitting there with the actual rules up, rather than move about and with that. Okay, right, so that's the end of the round now, isn't it? Yeah, that was a queen up phase. Adjust VOF, PDF, and we've just adjusted the activity level back to contact because that PDF and VOF's gone away. We still just have this one with the mines. So yeah, it looked like a good result until this guy got taken out. But if you think about it, he was definitely getting hit. I guess we were looking for a better result with the hit result that we didn't get. So that's us. We move on to turn 2. So what I'll do is, will I move that? Yeah, I'll move it on to turn 2. And that's where we're sitting. And that's 47 minutes. It feels like I've been here longer. That's what's worrying me. Maybe it's not. I was pausing quite a lot and looking at stuff, so maybe not. Now, do we shuffle the deck? I don't think so. Don't think we shuffle the deck. I'm just looking at the sequence of play there. It doesn't sort of tell you to do anything else there. I think you only shuffle when you get the shuffle card. So that's us ready for a new turn. Starting with the friendly higher HQ event phase, which does start on turn 2, so we're going to get that next. But I'll cut this for now, get it looked at, get it uploaded. I haven't put part 1 up yet. I've not really had the chance to look back on it, and I like to do that. So I've got 1, 2 and 3 waiting to go, and I should get back for a bit more of this later on. Better get the dogs out for a walk now though. Okay, I'll be back later. Cheers.